This morning on The Dish, a woman who's responsible for some of the best-looking food on film. Born in Philadelphia, Susan Spungen turned a love of food into a successful career as a magazine editor, producing cooking and styling creations for Martha Stewart Living, right from the publication's very first issue.
Then she went from the page to the stage, working as a top Hollywood food consultant and stylist on Julie and Julia, Eat, Pray, Love, and other big productions. And she's the author of several cookbooks, including her highly anticipated latest Open Kitchen, inspired recipes for casual gatherings. Susan Spungen, good morning and welcome to The Dish.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Tell us what's in front of us.
Well, first we're going to start with a couple of different toasts because they're just an easy, casual way to start a meal. And then we have the winter citrus salad with avocado and all kinds of different citrus and endive. And then we have what I call pink pasta. Doesn't look totally pink today, but it has a lot of pink things in it, like prosciutto, radicchio, red onions. And then we have not fried. It's called not fried.
I love it.
Eggplant parm.
And our dessert.
Oh, yes. And then we have lemon meringue bars for dessert.
Fantastic. Yeah. So when did you know that a food stylist was even a job that you could pursue?
Well, I didn't, and this was pre-social media. So I one day saw this article in the New York Times, and the New York Times turns out to be very central to my career arc. But I read this article, and it was called "How to Make the Basil Blush" in 1990, and I was like, "Wow, this sounds like a great job. I really want. This sounds like it's for me. The money is good, the hours are good. It's creative, it's fun. I get to do food, but in a different way." So I read that article, and then I started to pursue that path.
And then came Martha Stewart Living.
Right. Then that led me actually to meeting Martha in a kind of convoluted way that we don't have time to get into here. No, just like socially. I met her PR person, and then like a year after meeting her, she called me and said, "Martha's starting a magazine and looking for food people." And probably I was the only food person maybe she met. And so she called me.
Doesn't matter why.
Food stylists don't get enough attention and credit for what they do and the job. Talk a little bit about what it is it involves.
Well, the truth is there's a lot of different kinds of food styling. You have people who do food for magazines, and then you have people who do food for commercials. Now, sometimes there's crossover. I've done a little bit of everything, but there's just different levels and different types of food styling depending on what the job requires.
And what is it like when you are on a set? So I mentioned Julie and Julia, Eat, Pray, Love. I mean, you think of those movies, and all you see is the food in those. Right. What is it like to be on those sets and trying to make your creations last
imagine this like times 100. But there's a lot of factors that kind of affect what you're doing, and usually you're kind of, as the food stylist, the low man on the totem pole.
So you're not hanging out with Meryl Streep?
No. I am, and in fact, I've had the pleasure and the privilege of working directly with the actors because the films that I worked on, the actors had to be
Taste
cooking,
the food. Right.
Well, or be cooking. So, like, especially on Julie and Julia, I worked really closely with Amy Adams and with Meryl Streep. I showed her how to flip an omelet.
Oh, that's awesome!
Like right before the scene.
That is awesome.
And because they were food movies.
Right.
I'm not just doing background food. If I was just doing background food, I wouldn't have that opportunity to interact. For instance, on Julie and Julia, I probably made the French onion soup, which is like a shot that goes by like that 10 times because they kept scheduling it at the end of the day. And every day they would be like, "Oh, no, we're wrapping."
New French onion soup.
And we would do it again.
Right.
All the hats that you wear, I mean, goodness gracious. When do you have time to write a book? A cookbook?
Well, the film stuff, the glow from the films lasts a long time. I haven't really worked on a major feature for a few years. So
what was that inspiration then for the book for you?
Oh, for the book? Well, I just love sharing my cooking philosophy and my food with the world, and I want people to cook more. So this is like sort of my post-Martha food philosophy because I did work there for a very long time. So when I did my first book in 2005, it was kind of a little bit on the heels of that. And this is really me because I've been...
We like you.
Thank you.
We love having you.
Really like you.
Susan, I'm going to have you sign the dish.
Okay.
And if you could have this meal with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
Well, been thinking a lot lately about Georgia O'Keeffe because her recipe box is up on the auction block right now. And she was quite a cook. And I recently toured her kitchen in Santa Fe, or Abiquiu. And I was just loved being in her kitchen so much. And I wish that she was still here to have a meal with.
I like that. Susan, thank you. Go ahead and sign because we have to see how beautiful the signature is. And if you want more on Susan or the dish, you can head to our website at cbsthismorning.com.